back to World Crisis Radio. So what you need to do is go to tarpley.net by the end of the week, I think. Go to Act Independent. Go to other websites where you found my things in the past. Nidal Malik Hassan of Virginia Tech, Bethesda, and Fort Hood, a major patsy in a drill gone live. Get yourself above the contending schools of Islamophobes on the one hand and left liberal acolytes of Obama on the other. Don't be a dupe, but assume the standpoint of reason, actually dialectical reason in Plato's sense, and you can see through all this. Now, we've mentioned that one of the purposes of this current media circus around this tragic event is to give Obama a push. Obama really is dithering, right? Obama saw what happened to Lyndon B. Johnson. That's what would happen to him, will happen to him if this is what he does. And we've got now this dithering continuing, which is, we've now had 8 meetings of Obama's War Council, right, this collection of incompetence. Still no decision. And the big word this week is 2 important cables have come in from U.S. Ambassador Kyle Eikenberry, former 4-star general, former military commander in Afghanistan, who says to Obama, don't send more troops unless and until Karzai confesses, repents, is contrite, and promises no more corruption, gets his brother out of the country. Now, his brother is on the CIA payroll and continues to be on the CIA payroll. So it's essentially the Obama policy of today fighting with the backwash of the Bush policy and other policies going all the way back to Carter, ultimately. So the Eikenberry cables contradict the demands of McChrystal, and therefore much bad blood, resentment in the Pentagon against Eikenberry, who is now of the State Department. And here we have the options, 3 options published here in the Washington Post. Option 1, the McChrystal proposal, 40,000 extra troops, cost $33 billion. Option 2, the Gates option, the middle way, 30 to 35,000 troops, $27 billion in expenditure. I take it that's the Brzezinski faction's gambit, the Gates option. Option 3, the hybrid, 20,000 troops, $22 billion. It's a compromise between the status quo and now this would seem to be perhaps the Biden plan, right? Since Biden is supposedly the leader, although don't trust him, of the people who oppose escalation. Anyway, peace movement, where are you? This entire thing hangs in the balance. Where are the demonstrations? Where's the emergency march? Nothing going on in Lafayette Park across from the White House. The Tea Party people come. They get tremendous media attention. Every time 5,000 teabaggers show up, it's a major media event. Peace movement, anti-war movement. Can't you mount anything? We have a very interesting letter from Lori Dobson, former candidate for U.S. Senate in the state of Maine. Letter now signed by Cynthia McKinney and a series of other important anti-war leaders saying, Obama, don't escalate. If you do, we will have to go to immediate demonstrations against you. We will have to find anti-war candidates to support in the congressional election. And most important, we will be looking for a candidate against you, a peace candidate, possibly peace and recovery, in the Democratic primaries, which begin then as soon as the 2010 elections end. So a year from now, we will have primary action gearing up big time. We are at that point now. So the news from Iraq is more and more heavy bombs. We've got in this supply line, right? We've talked in the past about the supply line to the forces in the Baghdad area of Iraq, right, going across the enemy's front or the supposed enemy's front for 1,500 miles. You've now got an even worse situation, really, in Afghanistan. Everything has to come in through the Khyber Pass, and the Taliban have figured this out, and they're now attacking oil tankers on the road between Peshawar and Kabul, and that goes across that storied Khyber Pass. Generally speaking, we're having a fit of imperialist, an imperialist hissy fit here in Washington. It's shared in London. Gordon Brown is rebuking Karzai for his corruption, right? No more Tommies for you unless you come with a clean hands policy, says the hypocrite and desperate demagogue Gordon Brown. So the question now is, what will Obama do? And rather than sit around and try to puzzle that, it's time to get something going. If there are peace organizations left, they must convene a vigorous, robust, militant demonstration, preferably Lafayette Park across from the White House before the end of the year. And again, I cite Ramsey Clark, December 1990, a fairly decent demonstration across from the White House. And, of course, that did not impress Mad Dog Bush the elder, people who have been demoralized because the Mad Dog Bush, the younger regime, did not respond to peace marches, fundamentally don't understand that Obama needs left cover in order to subsist. He needs left cover like he needs air to breathe. He is therefore extraordinarily sensitive and vulnerable to peace demonstrations coming from his left, attacking him as a warmonger, an imperialist stooge, and the rest of it, which is all what he is. Now, Obama, as we mentioned, is on his way to the Far East. He's actually in Japan. The interesting prelude to all this is the Korean naval incident. In other words, forces of the DPRK, North Korea, clashing with the naval forces of the ROK, South Korea, in the area of the peninsula. This entire North Korean Kim Jong-il story has been a great godsend and boon for the Anglo-Americans in the Far East, because this threat is what is used to keep Japan and South Korea in line, strictly in the U.S. camp of obedience. And just on the eve of Obama going there, we see this going on. We've also got the possible presence of Al-Qaeda. That's another story we'll be looking into. Al-Qaeda seems to be surfacing in Japan, which makes no sense at all, but there it is. So Obama's going to meet with Hatoyama. Now, Hatoyama, I think, an untested quantity. This is now the first time that it's not the Liberal Democratic Party in a good long time. This is now this opposition party, which is essentially a catch-all. It's a congeries of all the opponents of the Liberal Democratic Party over these many decades. Issues include the Okinawa bases. Will Obama go to Hiroshima and Nagasaki? He wants to duck that one. And generally the issue of hegemonism. So, and then on to China and South Korea, and we'll be back in just a minute.